Alright, so I've decided to do a new video series on MMA YouTubers and where they would stack up against competition in the UFC. So, without further ado, let's get into the MMA fighter making his pro debut. Our first candidate is going to be someone from We Want Picks. Now, if you don't know who We Want Picks, just a little background. They started a YouTube channel, I believe almost 3 years ago, maybe in that 2 to 3 years mark. They've been doing a betting channel for a very long time now, and they've definitely got skin in the game. But more specifically, there's a specific fighter amongst the group that I want to chat about. It is a big organization now. I believe it has 6 to 7 members. But we're going to be talking about, that's right, the freckled salamander himself, Jacob from We Want Picks. Now, if you don't know who Jacob is, feel free to enjoy this clip.
When push comes to shove, when this turns into Rongju trying to just out pressure Chris Padilla, he can kind of flip that switch. Chris is gonna bide his time. He understands what he can do in this type of fight. I think he is better a little bit everywhere. That's why he's my fucking lock of the week. And full transparency, I got about $1,300 on this guy. He's such a well-rounded guy. He has that Muay Thai striking, nasty elbow.
Fucking stupid loudmouth motherfucker.
Fuck all them fuck niggas stay talking about me. Who the hell would you be if you was without me? Only way you are who you are is cause you copy. Only time you get paid when you play Monopoly. Thugger is a true one, Thugger not a new one. I'ma come through and you know I'm in the blue one. Big blue slab, yeah you know I ride caddy. Young bad bitches like to call the boss daddy. Niggas stay stunning and be live on stage. Throwing big faces, gotta show them getting.
I believe he needs no introduction, but we're going to be breaking down his skill set, I guess you could say. And one of the best opportunities we have here is I've got a few clips and videos that have been posted of his fighting regiment. Now, here we have Jacob. We Want Picks. He is part ginger. Fortunately, you know, he's one of the brothers. But here we have sparring footage of him going against a heavyweight wrestler here. Emphasis on the heavyweight. If you don't know his opponent, it's okay. I'll do a breakdown on him eventually, but let's just say he's part of We Want Picks. He's kind of there, you know what I mean? But, yeah, we're going to look at some footage here of Jacob, and just break down some of these images. So here we go. We start off with the striking. Looks pretty intense so far. One thing you can notice about Jacob is that he's really, really good at keeping his chin tucked. Now, when we're talking about where do these guys rank, we of course got to go over the weight classes. Now, given the 6'7" nature of Jacob here, I'd probably wager he'd have to be a middle to light heavyweight. Now, he doesn't have the biggest, broadest shoulders, and he is kind of up there in age, so the weight cuts might be affecting him. We're looking at someone here in their mid to late 30s. Now, unfortunately, when age is a factor, weight cutting is definitely there. And we do know that Jacob doesn't weight cut very often. He likes to keep his, 205 to 260 stature going. But a healthy weight, You can see his forearms popping out here. If you zoom in the video, you might even be able to see a vein pop out or two. And he's already got, his opponent here wincing at every shot, as you can see him ducking his head, scared of that ginger power that Jacob holds in his hands. But we're looking at weight classes here. I think it's better if we hold off for now and we just see some imagery here. We got to keep in mind that Jacob is at least 6 foot. I mean, we all know this. But moving into more of the sparring footage, I like that he keeps his tucked chin, Given a few years of Muay Thai, oof, this guy could be a Khalil Roundtree contender. Alright, that's all I'm saying. Nice feints, turning away from the punches. He's preparing, for when he does get hit to quickly turn his face. We see that with elite level, high level strikers. Very rare we see these nowadays, But, rip into the body here. Obviously going to affect the bigger opponent. He knows that he's got that extra layer of fat protecting him. So he's proving that he's even the stronger opponent by striking right through that layer of fat. Man, he does have some power in his hands, let me tell you. That ginger gene is doing wonders for him, alright? So here we have him, just pretty much playing with his opponent here. You know, he's kind of popping off, not going to lie, teeing off a little bit. Definitely in the first minute, we're looking at a Jacob 10-7. But, you know, we'll continue it. We'll give his opponent the benefit of the doubt here. Now, the problem here, I think, is really he is the shorter opponent, unfortunately, in this matchup. Now, his opponent is definitely 6'4", maybe 6'5". But the big problem here is Jacob's already at a disadvantage, you know? And this fight, sparring match, well, a sparring match, we'll call it, but we know what it really was. But yeah, so he is at a disadvantage. He's got the shorter reach. He's obviously at least 200 pounds lighter than his opponent in this footage. So, you know, you gotta take the information you get, even though it might not be the best source of information. But if we're looking at here, you know, we take a look at the physique. I mean, just right here alone, you can tell this guy at least can bench press 425 plus. No gear needed. You know, this guy's raw dogging it. Definitely natural. We're not seeing any sort of, you know, pops in the traps or anything. You know, he's got a fairly regular build, just really thick and juicy, you know. Now, where we do struggle with Jacob here, his legs are looking weak, man. I don't like that for MMA. Now, if you got weak, skinny legs, that means you're going to break to some leg kicks, you know. And we know these higher weight classes, you know, we got Rakic, you know what I mean? We got Rakic at light heavyweight. That's just, you're asking to get TKO'd, you know. In heavyweight, no one really does leg kicks, and it's pretty much all fists, but you don't really want to be boxing heavyweights at this kind of height disadvantage here. But we move into the sparring a little bit, you know. You can see him pawing at him. You know, the speed also is a little bit of a problem here for Jacob. I'm not noticing any sort of fast twitch. I think it's just that ginger gene helping out with his strength here. But with, you know, the ginger gene helping him out here, he's got to be careful with that ginger gene chin as well, you know. Definitely a big problem. And we'll see in some later footage here that, you know, gingers just, unfortunately, just don't have good chins, you know. But you can see him teeing off here. He takes punches pretty well from this, you know, super ultra heavyweight that he's fighting here. It's not bad, you know. But really, what we're looking at, definitely, I think hands down he won the striking in this match. I don't even think it was close. But if we find the clip right here, and this is over many rounds, you know, like this was really putting in the work for a fresh off the retirement, or the fresh off the couch fight, you know. But obviously, we got the wrestling we got to get to here. Now, again, just that back definition, his muscles are off the charts here. You know, this might be one of the best natural specimens we'll ever see in the UFC if he does compete. Now, again, keep in mind, we're looking at a 200-pound disadvantage, bare minimum here, all right? But, you know, we're looking at this, you know, he's getting wrist control. He's letting his opponent get the wrist, you know, trying to fake him out. Gets out of the wrist control from a super heavyweight. You don't see that every day, you know? This guy could be a monster if we're looking at these high weight classes. So we're seeing him, you know, defend the grip. You know, he's playing with his opponent, hand on head, slapping him around, you know, toying with him, you know. Unfortunately, he does accept bottom here, and he kind of gets pinned down by a super heavyweight. But you can see he's already trying his best here to get his hands to the shoulders, get that butterfly guard going, you know, trying to not accept side control, you know. Giving up his back is a very risky decision here. But luckily, he knew the timer was going to end, so that's why he obviously gave up his back. I mean, we all know that. You know, and later grappling, you know, he kind of showcases how to get submitted. These weren't real sparring rounds. I mean, we all know this. Oh my god, just rip into the body. You know, this guy's good. You know, cardio might be a little bit of a problem, but gingers, as we all know, unfortunately, our cardio isn't our strong suit. You know, we can just say that. Not as weak as our chins or anything, but we're taking risks if we're going at elevation, you know? So here we have just a showcase of toughness against this super heavyweight. But yeah, so couldn't find the clip, but it will circulate if you go looking for it. You know, Jacob's got one nasty blast double. Let me tell you something. You know, dare I say, even a single leg snatch. But yeah, I think as far as skill set goes, we can see pretty dangerous on the feet, considering, you know, he nearly knocked out this super heavyweight. As far as grappling goes, definitely needs some work. Definitely would have to spend some years training that grappling, and we need some leg days here in the business. You know what I mean? I don't like this for the higher weight classes. I think Jacob, so far from all the clips we've seen, we're looking at like a welterweight, middleweight, welterweight sort of physique here. Really stocky. You know, might have similar heights considering Jacob is 6 foot at bare minimum. But yeah, moving on to the next clip. Now, I managed to find this rare clip. You might be able to find it of Jacob from We Want Picks, aka the Freckled Salamander. So here he is in the UFC. Now, if you don't know, he did do a little bit of competing, and he still does competing on his off time. He actually he's still in the rankings, you know what I mean? But we know he's draining himself too much, as you'll see in some of these clips. But, you know, here we have one of his debut fights here, early on in his career, and you can just see the level of power that his ginger jeans gives him. Instantly hits that chin, and it's lights out. You know, oh my god, what a clean KO. And then you see him just take the back and just immediately go for that finish. That's what you like to see. But then we have a not great showcase. You know, we had one good win. Now we got to look at the loss, unfortunately. And if you don't know, yeah, he goes under the alias Malarkey over here, Jamie Malarkey. We all know it's Jacob, but we want to respect his wishes to keep it anonymous. So here we have him at lightweight. Now, clearly he's drained. You can see he had to cut all of his muscle off and everything to even make the weight here, and that's why he kind of doesn't have a great chin. It's part of the ginger gene as well, but, you know, he's doing okay. You know, he's landing, he's blocking correctly, but, you know, eventually the ginger gene just takes over, and it just wobbles him a little bit. You see that stinging, you see that trip straight from Mortal Kombat. I mean, like, anyone's getting tripped at that, you know what I mean? Like, this guy's straight from fucking, you know, he heard Shao Kahn yell finish him. Like, who's gonna beat that? You know what I mean? But, gets to the ground here, does well. But unfortunately, he's just getting stung because of that ginger chin, sorry. You know, and we can see here, unfortunately, it's just genetic difference, to be honest, you know? Just knocked him out. Gets to the ground. A little bit of an early stoppage, I think we can all admit that. But it is what it is, you know? It's good that we get to see a loss and a win. But yeah, overall, from everything I think we've seen, I think it's fair that we can give the first official ranking of, I think, peak top 15 for Jacob. And as far as weight divisions go, we're looking at a welterweight, I believe. I believe if he cut a little bit less and he was able to fill himself a little bit more, he'd be able to survive a lot of these punches. Now, the ginger gene is going to definitely cause him some problems in welterweight, you know. We got JDM, heavy hitter. We got, you know, Gilbert Burns to some extent, but I think Gilbert Burns would definitely have the grappling advantage there. Then we're looking at specialists like Sean Brady taking him down, you know. Like, we're looking at a lot of risks here for a little later in his career, Jacob, unfortunately. But he would be fighting out of America. He's got good training partners there, good wrestling partners. I believe, given the training and expertise, and, you know, maybe starting his competition in his very early 40s, you know, age is one of the hardest fights to win, unfortunately. But if he was to start in his early 40s after a few years of training, I believe he caps out at top 15. I think he could make it in. You know, I think he'd do well against someone like an Ian Gary. I think what we're looking at here is, you know, let's see welterweight real quick. We're looking at a Neil Magny test. I think he could pass that. It'd basically be who would crumble to a leg kick first. You know, You could probably get past Vicente Luque. I could see that. Vicente Luque's got a little bit of his brain leaking out of his ears from his last fight. You know, does he beat someone like a Michael Morales? Those are the real questions. You know, does he beat a Joaquin Buckley? Probably not, and I think that's just where it caps out. You know, so I think peak Jacob makes it to top 15 in welterweight. That's my prediction. That's where I would rank Jacob from We Want Picks. Now, obviously, this video is completely satire. Don't take anything seriously. This is just meant for fun. I'm bored as fuck because some of these UFC cards are dog shit. Not this one this weekend, but I'm just saying in general. And I thought it'd be a fun idea, you know, ranking YouTubers, seeing where they would go into the UFC here. And I'm going to start with the MMA YouTubers, you know. I wanted to go for an easy one. We got some footage of him. Obviously, this is Jamie Malarkia, not actually Jacob, from what we know. It's not Jacob, guys, from what we know. But just wanted to do this goofy thing. You know, I've been watching them for a while, so I thought I'd include him. Thought it'd be an easy one, considering he's got that ginger bloodline, and he's a funny dude. So, you know, yeah, pure satire. Don't take offense to anything in this video because all for jokes. But yeah, I would rank Jacob from We Want Picks top 15 welterweights. I think he could make it. I think he could make it. You know, especially given the proper training from people around his area. But with all that being said, I want to thank you for watching this video. And as always, I hope you have a good day.